Blog Talk Radio.
Wounded but not broken, with host Patrick Scrogin. As a U.S. Army attack helicopter pilot deployed in Iraq, Patrick faced a devastating crash, which resulted in him dying, losing a leg, and a slew of broken bones. Patrick's story of rehabilitation has helped others to overcome their own obstacles. Each week, Patrick recounts stories of inspiration and interviews guests who have overcome remarkable obstacles. This is Wounded but Not Broken, with your host, Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Wounded but Not Broken episode on a Monday night. This Monday night is different. It is a special Monday night. It's special to me, and it should be special to everybody. As we all know, it's Memorial Day, and Memorial Day, I think, means, a lot to a lot of people, but also I think people get confused with Memorial Day and Veterans Day. All day today I had people thanking me for my service, which I appreciate, and I really do take that to heart. But today's not about me, and it's not about my service. Today's about the people that didn't get to come home, that gave their life for this country so we all can live in this blanket of freedom that we enjoy every day. As divisive as our country is right now, I would feel like this is the one day that everybody in this country could come together, band together, and agree. So Memorial Day, what does that mean to us? Memorial Day was founded May 30th, 1868 by Commander-in-Chief John A. Logan. He was founded that day to honor the soldiers that had died in the Civil War, and that has carried forth ever since. And I think that, we as a country and we as a people, we go through a different spurts. Some years it may mean more to us than others, or, for a lot of people, it's just a 3-day weekend and it's a holiday that you get to go to the lake and wakeboard, which is great. That's awesome that people do that and they enjoy themselves. But, in the back of their mind, I would hope that everybody is really thinking about what this day is and why they get to enjoy those freedoms. And, today's a special day for me. It's kind of a somber day because always, all day long, I've been thinking about my friends that have died in the war, people that I didn't know, monuments that I've seen, stories that I've heard on this show. And, it's just a sad day for me. And I think I reflect a lot, and I really just kind of sit back and realize how great of a country we live in. And unfortunately, there's people that don't like it, and they try to take it away from us, or whatever they may do. But I think at the end of the day, the fabric, the foundation that this country, the men and women that have laid their lives on the line, the foundation that they built for this country is going to be unbreakable. And, I truly do believe that. So tonight is a special episode. It will be a little shorter than normal. I do have my beautiful wife here with me, and we're going to kind of discuss the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day and kind of what it means to her and how it's changed with her since her and I have gotten together. So I would like to introduce Alexa.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm super excited to be joining Patrick this evening. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, so, Alexa, before you met me, what did Memorial Day mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's a good question because, of course, before I met Patrick, I had an idea of the military, but really didn't come from a family where, a lot of people in my family served. So since I've joined lives with Patrick, I've learned so many different things about veterans, about wounded veterans, about the amazing organizations that help our veterans and their families. And on top of that, really what it means to be an American and, specifically with a day like today, the details and what Memorial Day, Veterans Day means. And I think, Pat kind of touched on it there, but it is a very somber day. And fortunately and unfortunately, I think more so unfortunately, we kind of cover that with more non-somber traditions like boating and hot dogs and burgers and school. It's almost the, of course, unofficial start of the summer, some may say. So in a lot of ways, again, like Pat said, I think that that's wonderful, and it's such a great day to all get together, get off work. But unfortunately, I do think that there is an underlying people not understanding the meaning of that and why it is a national holiday. Very important one at that. So, I'm fortunate and of course happy that I understand the difference between that. I would say even a few years ago before Pat, I can't say that I would be able to verbalize the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. I certainly can now. But actually just looking up the percentage of Americans that know the difference, or at least know what Memorial Day is, it's less than half of the American people know what Memorial Day actually stands for and what it is. So that's, of course, an unfortunate and just really sad statistic, because we all should, and we should celebrate our fallen veterans every single day. But a very important day and a good day for the start of the summer, but just would love for everyone to understand why we're grilling out and why we're boating and enjoying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very good description. And, I know that we've had this discussion a lot. And, just quickly today at work, I, just kind of listened. I didn't talk a lot, just kind of listened to what people thought about the day. I even asked a few. And it's amazing to me how many people don't really understand the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. But, I hope that at some point people will educate themselves and really understand, because we, as a country, this day should mean everything to us, because it's just, there's so many people that have laid their lives on the line that didn't get to come home, that don't get to enjoy this weekend. They gave up their lives so we could enjoy this weekend. Also, we're joined on the line tonight with Midge, the producer of the show, and so kind of want to get, different perspectives on this day and kind of what we're going through. So, Midge, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, Patrick, how you doing? Thank you for having me on. I know I'm just usually behind the scenes, but I think this is a great opportunity for Alexa and I to both chime in and give our thoughts on it, because I grew up as an only child, so I had no brothers or sisters. My uncle, I believe, was in the Marines, and that's all I really knew. So I never, grew up in a military household, not knowing exactly what it was. But, as I grew older, I understood what it was and what it was for. It's not just to, go out on the lake and party, and that's okay to do, but it's also set aside part of your day to honor those that have made it possible for you to go out on your boat and party, for those who have made it possible for you to have a boat, to do the things you want to do, to eat food, to go to a store, without having to stand in a food line, and I think, like, I talked to my daughter this morning, and she has no clue, and I failed as a father in that part, where I have not explain to her, why there is a Memorial Day. And I went with Lance, who's part of the VBN network. He took me to a memorial at the Warrenville BFW, where they have the Veterans Memorial, and there was a big speech, and they read all the names, and they had a 21 gun salute, and it was amazing just to see, the parents that were there with their kids. So they're trying to explain, before you go out and party, this is why this day is actually a day, So I think this is great to talk about it like this, because, like Alexa and you both said, not a lot of people understand why it's a holiday other than the start of summer, and what the difference between Memorial and Veterans Day are.
Yeah, I mean, and that's true. And I think, a lot of that, I think, really should be emphasized in schools. I mean, that's just obviously my opinion, and there's a lot of opinions, but I'm entitled to say mine. And I think it should start in schools at a very young age. Our kids should understand the men and women, the heroes that have fought and died for this country, and why. Whether people agree with the conflicts or not, it doesn't matter. When you're in the military and you're called upon to go represent this nation, And nobody cares if you agree with it or not. You got to do your job. And so, at the end of the day, you just try to make the best of it. And, today is a day that our entire country, I would hope, could come together and really agree with everything divisive that's going on nowadays with, you name it. I just can't think of a better thing that could bring our country together. I can think back to September 11th, to when I joined the military, or when I decided to join the military. That's probably, in my lifetime, the most united I've ever seen the country after something like that. But I've always told people, it's amazing how quickly we forget, and it's amazing how quickly we as a people step on either side of the line, whatever side you're trying to represent. And, today's just not that day. And that's the best way I can explain it. I think people just need to really, educate themselves on what happens. And I don't want to sound like a mean guy or anything, but, this day does mean a lot to me. And I really, I spend a lot of time reflecting and trying to understand the impact of it, of everything that goes on.
Yeah, I guess more out of, between Alexa and I, you would be the one that would, be more apt to know about it than us. But I think this is great that you are willing to do this, because it does probably bring up a lot of horrible memories for you, and when it's a day that's set aside to honor those that have fallen, it makes you kind of almost relive those moments, and it brings it up, whether you like it or not. Once a year, it brings up the memories that you have of everything that happened and all the people that you lost, the families, that you gain while you're over there, the brothers that you lost. And it makes you think about that once a day, every year. I'm sure you do every day anyways, but whether you want to or not, once a year, you're kind of forced to, and when you are looking around and you see people, going out and grabbing margarita mix and not really knowing anything about it, that's got to kind of get under your skin. It's in some sort of way, that you want to just scream at the top of your lungs and say, do you guys even know why you're doing this,
Yeah. No, I got it. Hey, Midge, this is a good point. Let's take a break here, get a word from the sponsors. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion.
Gotcha.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over. What's not over? What's not over?
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life. Like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
Attention, all U.S. veterans. You have served this country with honor and pride. So why is it so difficult to receive the benefits you deserve? Filing a VA claim is complicated, it's cumbersome, and time-consuming. Many veterans have a problem identifying what conditions they should apply for. VDAC, Veterans Disability Application Caddy, is an online application that greatly assists you with filling out your application and identifying the disabilities that you're entitled to. The VDAC process takes about 15 to 30 minutes from start to finish. The entire process is simple and easy to use. The software automatically cross-references the VA database to determine what presumptive conditions you are entitled to, as well as any secondary conditions. Once done, a fully completed VA form is generated with supporting material. To find out more, go to nifv.org and click on the VDAC button. Again, the website is nifv.org and click on VDAC.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're here discussing Memorial Day with my beautiful wife, Alexa, and Midge. And, you know, I work today, which is good for me because I kind of took my mind off of it because today is a pretty sad day for me. A lot of memories, but I do celebrate, and I do understand the significance of what people have given up. People have given up their lives, so, again, we can live in this blanket of freedom. But on that break, I was just, surfing the web there real quick, just looking at some of the top stories, and it's almost sickening. I mean, on a day like today, when our country should be the most united ever, you know, you look, the headline is Chicago weekend shootings, 40 people shot in Chicago over Memorial Day weekend. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that to me, that's a home problem. I mean, this stuff isn't being, you know, people don't understand the significance of today. But for me, Memorial Day is every day. I mean, there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about the men and women that I knew that lost their lives and gave up their lives for this country. And, you know, I know it's something different for me. It's a little bit closer to my heart, but I think, you know, we have to figure out how to get that message out to make people understand and be aware of the significance of this day. And, you know, Veterans Day, that's another day. I mean, that's a day you thank the people for their service. And, you know, I just don't think we can do it enough. I think overall, as a nation, you know, the majority are thankful for the services and the sacrifices that our men and women make. But I don't think that number's high enough. And I know I watched an interview on the news with General Milley, and, you know, he was pretty convinced that overwhelmingly the majority thinks that they're appreciative. And I disagree with him. I disagree. I think our country is moving in a totally different direction than we've ever seen it. And so I would like to get Alexa's point of view on that, and then after her, Midge's point of view on it, and just kind of get, three different ideas. So, Alexa, go ahead.
Sure. Well, I'm typically a very optimistic and positive thinker. So I think if I was asked the question, do people or Americans in general appreciate our military? You know, I would like to say yes, and I think that that's my initial reaction. But I think if I think about it a bit more, unfortunately, I would have to lean towards the more negative side to where my answer would be no. And I think that that's just changed a lot. I think it's not talked about enough. I think going into this weekend, personally for me, just with my work in general, you know, what people talk about, and before the weekend comes up, hey, what are your plans? What are your plans for the long weekend? Oh, we're doing this, we're grilling out. And thinking back to all of my colleagues at work that mentioned what their weekend plans were, I did not hear one person mention anything really about Memorial Day, and it was just considered the long weekend. And I think we hear that a lot at work or in the corporate world, and it's just been forgotten about why we get this day off. And so it is such a significant day and such a beautiful day to honor those that fought for our freedom. But with that being said, you know, I'd really like to think that people honor our military and respect that. And, you know, you meet a lot of people in the many different states that Pat and I have lived in. I think it just kind of depends on the area too. But, you know, I think here, just move back to the burbs of Illinois up by Chicago, and seen a lot of amazing people that have really respected Patrick and what he's done. You can kind of tell the community, whether, you know, even as small as the military discounts that they give and what they post on their building during Memorial Day, Veterans Day, the 4th of July, you know, just the patriotism in general of the area. And so I think naturally, just depending on where you're at and the feel of the community, it can change a lot of things. But I would say at the end of the day that we as a country, through the years, it just seems to be diminishing, and that's very sad to think about. That's a little bit of my take on it, but Midge, I'll pass it over to you.
Patrick said that he read the news, there was 40 shootings this weekend. That's a slow weekend, Patrick. I worked in radio in Chicago for 30 years, and that's the unfortunate thing is that I think the youth of today have lost respect for everything. They have lost respect for their parents. They have lost respect for their adults in their life. They have lost respect for the police, the military. I'm not saying everybody, obviously not 100%, but the majority of young adults out there are so into themselves, and they're so just wrapped up in their own life, and it's about let's get a gun and go do a smash and grab at the store and see how much we can sell it for. And, I like Alexis like to think she's an optimistic thinker. I would too, but when you watch the news and all you see are shootings, robbings, stabbings, beatings, and it's not just Chicago, you'd like to think it's maybe we're in this little bubble of violence, but we're not. It's like that all over the country. And I think younger people in general have just, lost respect in everything. It's all about them now, and they just focus on themselves. And if they don't have a dad in their life, if they don't have a mom, if they don't have either, they're on their own. They just, in general, I think everybody has just lost respect for everything. And it's sad because I want to be optimistic about, how my kids are going to grow up and live. But it's like I see the way things are going, and it doesn't look good. I hate to say it, but it doesn't look good the way things are going because it just keeps getting worse.
No, we've definitely been on the downward trend of it for sure. But I attribute that to the home life. I mean, I think that starts at home because, I know my kids know what this day is. They know what Veterans Day is. They know the difference. They know how significant they are. And that's easy. I mean, because they were military kids. But, at the end of the day, I think that's up to us as a whole, as a population. We need to educate our kids better and stop being so partisan and so political about what our kids get taught. I mean, I think we need to go back to the foundation of this country and start teaching that again, which they don't do. But yeah, I mean, it's very depressing when you see that. But also on a more positive side of it, I mean, there is a lot of people that celebrate Memorial Day and they understand what it means. They understand the significance of it, and they, they'll give up their time or donate or whatever they have to do. And it's really awesome to see. I mean, that's really refreshing. So for every bad story you see a good story, and so that kind of offsets it a little bit. But I think this is a good time. Let's break one more time here, and when we come back, we'll all finish up here.
Put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life. Like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
Attention, all U.S. veterans. You have served this country with honor and pride. So why is it so difficult to receive the benefits you deserve? Filing a VA claim is complicated, it's cumbersome, and time-consuming. Many veterans have a problem identifying what conditions they should apply for. VDAC, Veterans Disability Application Caddy, is an online application that greatly assists you with filling out your application and identifying the disabilities that you're entitled to. The VDAC process takes about 15 to 30 minutes from start to finish. The entire process is simple and easy to use. The software automatically cross-references the VA database to determine what presumptive conditions you are entitled to, as well as any secondary conditions. Once done, a fully completed VA form is generated with supporting material. To find out more, go to nifv.org and click on the VDAC button. Again, the website is nifv.org and click on VDAC.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Wounded But Not Broken on this Memorial Day. We were going to kind of keep this episode kind of short. I know everybody's got busy lives and they do want to spend time with their families. And so, Midge, I'd like to give you a chance to say anything you'd like to say in closing or any message you'd like to put out.
I really just want to say, Patrick, thank you for everything that you have done and everybody that has, served in the military, because it has allowed us to be free, and I wish more people would understand and know what the people in the military have gone through and all that they have suffered, but all that they have sacrificed for doing that, because I don't know how many people are joining the military now, but I just think people don't know enough in general, and like you said, it needs to be taught more in history classes, and I want to be like Alexa, and I want to have a positive outlook, and I hope things get turned around and get back to, the good old days. If it was 1950 again, when everybody had an American flag hanging outside of their house, and, mom and dad had a picnic every Sunday, and the good old days. And now it's just, you don't see that anymore. In rural places you might, but I don't know. I wish things would turn around, and I want to have a positive outlook, but it's hard. It's really hard these days to try to have one,
Yeah, Midge, I completely agree. And I'm gonna give Alexa a chance to say something in closing here, and then I'll wrap this up, and we can all get about our evening, I guess. But so Alexa, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Midge, just like you did, I thank Patrick so much for everything that he's given, and every one of his friends that he's lost, which he's lost far too many, and there's far too many that I haven't been able to meet. And even our reception is later this year from our wedding, and there's a lot of names that we would have loved to invite that, when Patrick's going through his list, they just won't be there. And, that's because they fought for our country. And it really gives you a whole new perspective on it when you are so close to it. There's not too many families or people that are super close to it, but the majority of people do know somebody who did serve or currently serve, retired or active duty. And I think from my perspective as well, my generation, I do think it feels as though, and I'm not a very negative person, so I don't like having this mindset, but it does feel as though we've gone to a point where even as something like the flag, it almost seems like we should be ashamed to fly it, or someone's going to have an opinion about you having an American flag. Or, even sending out, I'll bring it back to our reception because I just use that example, sending out our save the dates and our wedding invitations. I have flag stamps. And it's really sad that even my brain went to, are these appropriate to have on there? Of course they are, but there's some people where I can't believe it, but even a few years ago when you look on the news and people are burning the American flag, and it's become a symbol of divide rather than being united. I mean, it's just something that we never thought would happen. And in schools, you know, the fact that they're not teaching the difference between these days and what Memorial Day means, and, you know, teaching children what definition, you know, of these symbolic days mean, and how we need to give back to our veterans, and how amazing America is, not just those negative things and how horrible it is and how we need to destroy it, but rather the opposite. And I do think that unification is really going away, and I really hope I'm wrong in that. But I do think if you ask the majority of people their opinion, that they would probably agree with me in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, we see a lot of American flags today, and it's beautiful to see, and I just wish that and hope that continues every single day, because it's not just one day we should dedicate to our fallen heroes, but really every day we should think of them and honor them. So thanks for having me on, and it was a pleasure. And again, I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their night, had a happy and safe weekend, and, you know, hope to honor veterans every single day, not just today.
Yeah, I think that was very well said from both of you. I have a few things I'll add, and we'll close this up. You know, I think everybody listening, you know, no matter who you are, you can make a change. You can educate somebody if you care. I know, you know, when I go to a football game, or I watch my son play football, or I hear the national anthem, even if I'm sitting on the couch, it'll bring tears to my eyes, because I look at that flag and it makes me so proud. It makes me so proud to walk in the steps of giants. And that's what I've truly done most of my adult life is, you know, I've been with some of the most brave, courageous human beings on the face of the planet. And it's humbling for me. And I will never regret anything that I did. On the contrary, I would do it all again, twice over if I could. And the reason I say that, because any one of them service members that aren't here today would do anything possible to be where I'm at. And so I think I would be really remiss in not thanking the families of the fallen soldiers, the Gold Star families, the wives, the husbands, the brothers, the sisters, you know, everything that they go through each and every day. Every day is Memorial Day for them. Every single day. Think about that. Think about waking up, not having your wife there, or your husband, or your son, or your daughter, and knowing that they were just in what they did, because they went and fought for this country they love, the greatest country on earth. But you wake up and they're not there. Every day is Memorial Day for them. So I think that as a country, we could come together one damn day out of the year and support them people. And so I hope our country will get back on track, and you know, people will look at that flag again and be proud. I know a lot do, and I'm not trying to be a naysayer and you know, a Debbie Downer and say not everybody does. But there, you know, it is becoming a vast majority of people, you know, they don't like what this country stands for anymore. And that's because they're either too stupid to do research on their own, or they don't understand. And they don't understand. I mean, if, you know, I don't know. I've always had that mindset. If you don't like this country, leave. It's a free country. You can get out. Yeah. But, you know, the thing is we have to come together. We have to educate each other. We have to support each other. But most of all, we have to support the Gold Star families that have their family members have sacrificed everything. So I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. And I just want to say God bless the United States of America. God bless our Gold Star families. And God bless the men and women that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. Hope everybody has a good evening. Good night.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.